All right, so today we're going to really tackle a big one.
Big one.
Elon Musk. I mean, this is
A deep dive.
Yeah, this is a deep dive into someone who really generates a lot of strong opinions. And to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of his story, we're looking at excerpts from his Wikipedia page.
Right.
And I mean,
It's extensive.
it's really extensive, and you can tell that it's pulling from
It's source.
so many sources. Like, it's sourced from news articles and books and interviews, all this stuff.
Pretty much anything you can imagine.
Yeah. And so I think what we're going to try to do is, instead of getting lost in all of the hype and the controversy,
Sure.
we're going to try to just extract like the
facts.
of like his journey.
Yeah, and what he's done.
And his impact, you know?
Exactly. And I mean, just thinking about it's fascinating. Someone who has so many companies, like different companies, and how they've all managed to like kind of coalesce into making him such a prominent figure in so many different fields.
So, yeah.
Where does this all begin?
Right.
Well, Musk's story starts in South Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was born into a wealthy family, but his childhood wasn't, all roses.
Not a walk in the park.
No, not a walk in the park.
I was going to say that, that Wikipedia entry mentions a difficult upbringing, including his parents' divorce, and, bullying was a big one.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty severe bullying. And
yeah.
It's interesting to think about how these early experiences might have actually shaped his drive and resilience.
And even as a kid, he was already showing signs of, what was to come.
Oh, really?
Like, he created and sold his first video game at 12 years old.
Wow.
Imagine having that kind of entrepreneurial spirit.
At 12?
At 12 years old.
I mean, that speaks to his early interest in technology, and also just like his willingness to take risks. He was just trying things out, seeing what works. And that seems to be a pretty consistent theme throughout his career, really.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit.
Musk emigrates to Canada using his mother's citizenship. This was, largely driven by his opposition to the South African apartheid regime.
Right.
And get this, while he was waiting for his documentation, he took on a variety of odd jobs, like even cleaning out a lumber mill boiler room.
What? That's almost hard to picture someone who would go on to become one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of work. But it really does demonstrate like a certain practicality and a work ethic that you don't always see in people from, more privileged backgrounds.
Yeah. So eventually he makes his way to the U.S.
Okay.
And studies physics and economics at the University of Pennsylvania.
Wow, what a combination.
Yeah, powerhouse combination, right?
Yeah, that's a powerful combination.
And this is where his entrepreneurial journey really takes off.
This is where it begins.
Yeah.
So what was his first big one?
So his first major venture was Zip2.
Zip2, okay.
And essentially what they did was they provided online business directories and maps to newspapers.
Interesting.
So it was kind of like a very, very early version of...
like the precursor to Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps, but specifically designed for media publications.
Right.
And get this, they even landed a deal with the New York Times.
Whoa.
So he was already kind of shaking things up in the media world at a time when the internet was still...
brand new.
Relatively new.
Yeah, he was ahead of the curve there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Talk about being ahead of the curve. And this was like right at the beginning of the .com boom.
Yeah.
So he was like...
perfectly positioned.
To
capitalize.
To ride that wave.
Yeah.
Wow.
And capitalize. He did.
Okay, so...
Compaq buys Zip2 for a whopping $307 million.
What?
At just 28 years old.
Wow.
Musk walks away with a $22 million share.
I mean...
you'd think that kind of success would be enough for anyone.
Yeah, you would think.
But not for Elon Musk.
Not even close.
No, not even close. So what did he do?
So he immediately co-founds X.com.
X.com.
Which was an online financial services company that eventually would evolve into something we all know and use today.
Let me guess.
PayPal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's remarkable to think about how much of modern finance is built upon these like foundations laid by these early internet pioneers.
Those early internet pioneers really changed the game. It's unbelievable.
Then here's where we start to see some of that classic Musk drama unfold.
Oh, really?
He's actually ousted
No.
as CEO of PayPal.
As CEO.
Yeah, despite being a co-founder.
Oh, wow. That's got to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this incident, I think, is often seen as a real turning point in his career.
Yeah.
It really highlights, we always talk about his visionary brilliance, but also his demanding leadership style. And that often leads to clashes with others.
Yeah, he's not afraid to
He's not afraid to butt heads.
butt heads.
Yeah.
But still, when eBay acquired PayPal, he made a fortune from his remaining shares.
Yeah, so, what do you do after that? You've made a fortune.
Well,
multiple times.
rest on his laurels.
Right.
Not Elon Musk.
So he set his sights on something bigger.
He sets his sights on something truly audacious, space exploration.
Space exploration.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so not just any space exploration.
No.
Tell me more.
He found SpaceX in 2002 with the explicit goal of colonizing Mars.
Colonizing Mars? What?
Yeah.
That at the time seemed completely outlandish to most people, right?
Yeah, an ambition that seemed like totally impossible.
Totally impossible.
Yeah.
But Musk has a knack for taking these seemingly impossible goals
Right.
and breaking them down into smaller, achievable steps.
He can chunk it down.
Yeah, he chunks it down and he focuses on relentless innovation, and he's not afraid to iterate and adapt along the way.
Yeah. Take, for example, the development of the Falcon 1 and Falcon 9 rockets.
Yeah.
These weren't just, incremental improvements on, existing technology. Right.
SpaceX achieves something truly groundbreaking, reusable first stages.
Yeah.
Like they literally land those rocket boosters back on Earth.
It's crazy.
Often on drone ships in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing.
Like it's a feat of engineering that was once considered pure science fiction.
And the impact of this is huge.
Yeah.
Reusable rockets dramatically reduce the cost of spaceflight.
Right.
Which opens up all sorts of possibilities, for research and exploration and even commercial ventures.
Yeah, SpaceX even secured those contracts from NASA to resupply the International Space Station.
Yeah.
They launched the Falcon Heavy, sending Musk's own Tesla Roadster into space.
It's crazy.
It was a publicity stunt that captured the world's imagination.
Wild.
They're not doing things small over there.
No. Or big or go home.
Now he's developing Starship, this massive spacecraft designed for deep space missions, and the ultimate goal of that is transporting humans to Mars and beyond.
He's playing the long game.
He is playing the long game.
Yeah.
He's not interested in making a quick profit or achieving, incremental progress. He wants to fundamentally change the way we think about space travel and the future of humanity.
And it's that kind of ambition and drive that really sets him apart.
Absolutely.
But his focus isn't solely on the cosmos.
Okay.
He also has his sights set on revolutionizing transportation right here on Earth.
Okay, back down to Earth.
Back down to Earth.
Okay.
Tesla.
Fair fly.
So Tesla was initially a small electric car startup that Musk joined as an investor and chairman in 2004.
Okay.
By 2008, he had taken over as CEO, and that's when things really started to accelerate.
So he wasn't content with just making electric cars.
No.
Tell me more.
He wanted to create vehicles that were not only sustainable, but also high-performance, stylish, technologically advanced.
Yeah, like the whole package.
Yeah.
Not just your average electric car.
The Tesla Roadster was the first production car to use lithium-ion battery cells and to have a range of over 200 miles on a single charge. Wow.
Then came the Model S, the Model X, the Model 3, and the Model Y.
Wow, they just keep coming.
Each pushing the boundaries of electric vehicle technology.
Each one further than the last.
Yeah. He was also a strong proponent of autonomous driving technology.
Oh, yeah.
Investing heavily in autopilot and other self-driving features.
Right.
He believes that this technology has the potential to make roads safer and more efficient.
It could.
Yeah. And to scale up production, he builds these massive factories called gigafactories.
Gigafactories.
Yeah.
Another example of go big or go home.
Go big or go home, right?
Exactly.
And it's not just about producing more cars.
Right.
These gigafactories are designed to drive down the cost of electric vehicles, making them more accessible to a wider market.
Right. They have to be affordable, right?
Yeah, and it's working.
It is.
The Tesla Model Y actually became the best-selling vehicle of any type globally in December 2023.
That's huge.
It's a major shift.
That is a major shift in the automotive industry.
It's clear that Musk's vision for electric vehicles is really coming to fruition.
Yeah, but as with everything else he does,
right,
it hasn't been without its share of controversy.
Oh yeah, we're just scratching the surface here.
We're just getting started.
We've got a lot more to uncover.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're deep in the world of Elon Musk.
Yep.
And we've already seen how he's disrupted the internet, space travel, and the automotive industry.
Yeah, he gets around.
But believe it or not, there's so much more to uncover.
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about the sheer variety of companies he's involved with,
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
it's almost like he's trying to tackle every major challenge facing humanity all at once.
Yeah, all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's quite the list.
He definitely doesn't shy away from ambitious goals.
That's for sure.
So speaking of ambition, let's talk about Solar City.
Solar City, okay?
Remember how we were discussing his focus on sustainable energy with Tesla?
Yes.
Well, Solar City fits right into that vision. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Musk actually provided the initial concept and the seed money for Solar City, which was co-founded by his cousins.
Oh, wow.
And by 2013, it had become the second largest provider of solar power systems in the U.S.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I mean, that really reflects his early commitment to renewable energy solutions.
Yeah. And eventually Solar City was acquired by Tesla.
Right.
And what I think is interesting about this is how it kind of creates this more integrated approach to sustainable living.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tesla's not just selling electric cars anymore.
Right.
They're offering a whole ecosystem of clean energy products.
That's right. You've got the solar panels,
Yeah.
the power walls for home energy storage, and even those massive mega packs that are designed for utility scale energy storage.
Seems like he's really trying to create this
That's the whole sustainable
energy future.
energy future, exactly. And he seems determined to play a key role in making that happen.
It's fascinating how his companies often intertwine and build upon each other.
It is very interesting.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk about Neuralink.
Neuralink. Oh, this is a really interesting one.
This one gets into some really mind-bending territory.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
Yeah.
Neuralink is focused on developing brain-computer interfaces.
Okay.
So imagine a tiny chip implanted in your brain that can record and stimulate neural activity.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
I know, it's pretty wild.
It sounds like science fiction.
It does, it really does. But, I mean, what are the practical applications of this kind of technology?
Yeah.
I mean, initially, Neuralink is focused on those medical applications.
Oh.
So think about, helping people with paralysis regain movement, restoring vision, treating neurological disorders like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's.
Like we're talking about.
I mean, these are incredibly complex challenges.
It's
But the potential benefits are huge.
almost hard to even grasp the implications.
I know.
We could be talking about a future where technology directly interfaces with the human brain to, treat debilitating conditions.
Yeah, that's the goal.
It's incredible.
But of course, there are those ethical concerns as well.
Of course.
I mean, anytime you're dealing with something as sensitive as brain implants,
Especially when it involves animal testing.
especially when it involves animal testing, there are serious ethical considerations that have to be taken into account.
And Neuralink has faced scrutiny over the years
Yeah.
for, the deaths of some monkeys during their trials.
Right.
It's just a reminder that
It's a
even with
rescue
the
baby.
best intentions, pushing the boundaries of science and technology requires careful consideration of the potential risks
Of course.
and the ethical dilemmas.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very powerful technology,
Mm.
and it needs to be developed responsibly and thoughtfully.
Yeah. And it raises a lot of questions about the future of human enhancement and the boundaries between technology and our own biology.
Yeah. Where do we draw the line? That's the question, isn't
So
it?
from brain-computer interfaces,
Yeah.
let's go to something a little more
Literally.
literally.
Down to earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the deal with the Boring Company?
The boring I mean, this might be Musk's most unconventional venture yet.
I was going to say, that's
It's so out there.
out there.
Essentially, he's tackling the problem of traffic congestion in cities by
Yeah.
boring tunnels.
I mean, it sounds almost too simple.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of his approach, right?
Yeah.
Identifying a problem and coming up with a bold, if somewhat unconventional solution.
He doesn't do anything halfway.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So the idea is to create this network of tunnels that allow vehicles to bypass all that surface level traffic
Yeah.
and travel at high speeds. So think of it as an underground highway system.
Okay, so like a subterranean superhighway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they've already built a test tunnel in Las Vegas,
Oh, wow.
and they're working on projects in other cities as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those develop. But
Yeah.
this whole venture has sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah,
Our critics argue that focusing on tunnels is a distraction from more practical solutions, like investing in public transportation.
You know, and Musk has been quite vocal about his dislike for public transportation.
Which, of course, has rubbed some people the wrong way.
Not a fan of public transportation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He definitely has a knack for making these provocative statements.
I will say.
But let's move on to another one of his headline-grabbing moves.
Go get it.
His acquisition of Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Yeah, that was a wild ride, wasn't it?
That was a wild ride. I mean, the whole saga
Yeah.
unfolded like a real-life drama.
Yeah, it really did.
So first, he buys a 9% stake in Twitter,
Okay.
becoming the largest shareholder.
Okay, big shareholder.
And then he offers to buy the whole company.
Okay.
But then he tries to back out of the deal.
What?
Yeah.
No, why?
Claiming that Twitter misrepresented the number of fake accounts on the platform,
Oh, boy.
leading to this whole legal battle.
A whole legal battle.
It was just this roller coaster back and forth lawsuits, dramatic tweets from Musk himself.
Of course.
Ultimately, though, he's forced to go through with the acquisition.
Right.
And once he's in charge,
Well, then what happens?
things get really interesting.
Things get really
He
interesting.
just shakes things up from the get-go.
Like, what kind of things does he shake up?
So he fires top executives,
Oh, wow.
lays off thousands of employees,
Thousands?
makes sweeping changes to content moderation policies, even renames the platform to X,
To X.
and ditches the iconic bird logo.
Wow. He is not afraid of change.
No, he is not.
And this is all in a pretty short period of time, too.
Very short period of time.
Wow, that was a whirlwind of change.
It was a whirlwind, and not everyone was happy about it.
Of course not.
Some people praised his efforts to promote free speech on the platform,
Right.
while others criticized the changes, arguing that they made Twitter a more hostile environment.
A more hostile environment.
It was very divisive.
I mean, it's a perfect example of how his actions often spark intense debate and really polarize opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a disruptor by nature.
Yeah.
And whether you agree with his methods or not, you can't deny that he's not afraid to shake things up.
I mean, his ownership of Twitter, or X as it's now called,
Yeah.
has definitely been one of the most talked about events in recent social media history.
It's definitely been in the news a lot.
And it's given him an even bigger platform
Yeah.
to voice his opinions.
Yeah. Much bigger platform.
Which brings us to his political stances.
Right.
And the influence that he wields.
Okay.
He's a complex figure politically.
I would imagine so.
He's described himself as politically moderate,
Okay.
but his statements and actions often seem to lean more towards the right, particularly in recent years.
Okay.
He's been critical of what he calls the woke mind virus
The woke mind virus
and has expressed concerns about the potential dangers of artificial intelligence.
of AI. Okay.
And in a move that surprised a lot of people, he recently donated to Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And given his previous criticisms of Trump,
Right.
that decision definitely raised eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big turn right there.
Pretty out there.
You never know what he's going to do next.
With his wealth and massive platform,
Yeah.
there's no denying that Musk has a significant influence on public discourse.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, his views, whether you agree with them or not,
Right.
they tend to make headlines and shape conversations.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to politics either.
Right.
His ventures often touch upon those big issues like climate change,
Yeah.
transportation, and the future of technology.
And speaking of technology, didn't he also express interest in Hyperloop?
Oh, yeah. Hyperloop?
That futuristic high-speed transportation system that's supposed to whisk people around in pods
Yeah, and blog.
through near vacuum tubes.
Those near vacuum tubes going super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big proponent of the concept and even released a white paper outlining his vision for Hyperloop and actually encouraging others to develop the technology.
It's kind of cool that he's...
Yeah, it's kind of open source in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, here's my idea, go make it happen.
Yeah.
And there are actually companies around the world working on Hyperloop projects right now.
Oh, wow.
Though it remains to be seen if it'll ever become a practical form of transportation on a large scale.
Right.
I mean, it's
We'll see what happens.
definitely ambitious.
Yeah. And then there's OpenAI,
OpenAI.
the artificial intelligence research company he co-founded.
Right.
That's the company behind ChatGPT, right?
That's the one.
The AI chatbot that seems to be capable of doing just about anything these days.
It seems like it can do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Musk stepped down from OpenAI's board a while back.
Okay.
But he's remained pretty vocal about the potential dangers of artificial intelligence. You know?
Yeah.
He sees it as a powerful technology that needs to be developed responsibly.
It's interesting how he seems to be both fascinated by the potential of AI
Yeah.
and wary of its risks at the same time.
It's like that double-edged sword.
It's like you know,
A double-edged sword.
powerful but potentially dangerous.
Yeah, and that seems to be a recurring theme with him, like pushing the boundaries of technology
Yeah.
while also being mindful of the potential downsides.
Right. The unintended consequences.
Yeah.
See, the complex figure, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But we've only explored one side of the Elon Musk story.
Right.
I mean, we've delved into his companies, his ideas,
Yeah.
his impact on various industries.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But what about the man himself?
Right.
Like, we can't forget that behind all these ventures, there's a human being.
There is.
With a personal life.
There is a person there.
Just as fascinating.
That's right.
And often as messy.
Oh, yeah.
As his professional one.
Sometimes even more so.
Yeah, from multiple marriages and a large family.
Yeah.
To public feuds and those late night tweets.
Oh, yeah. Those late night tweets.
Musk's personal life often makes headlines.
It does.
Well, buckle up, because it's about to get personal.
Oh, boy.
We'll dive into the complexities of Elon Musk's personal life
All right.
when we return for the final part of our deep dive.
All right. Welcome back to the final chapter of our Elon Musk deep dive.
Deep dive.
We've covered his groundbreaking companies, his bold visions for the future, and even touched on his tendency to stir up a little controversy.
He definitely likes to shake things up.
He likes to shake things up.
Yeah.
Now it's time to get a bit more personal.
Get personal.
You know, we've talked a lot about the entrepreneur,
Yeah.
the innovator, the disruptor,
Like the big ideas.
the big ideas. But
Yeah.
behind all of that is a human being.
There is.
With a personal life.
Right. A real person.
That's just as fascinating
Yes.
and often as complicated as his professional one.
Maybe even more so.
Yeah, and let's be honest, when it comes to Elon Musk, complicated might be an understatement.
That's probably fair.
I mean, where do we even begin?
Well, one place to start might be with his family life.
Okay.
I mean, Musk has a very large family, at least 12 children.
Wow.
And he's been married and divorced multiple times.
Okay, so definitely not.
Not your average family dynamic.
Not your average family dynamic.
No, it's a side of him that often gets overshadowed by all the business ventures, but it's a significant part of who he is.
Yeah, his first marriage was to Justine Wilson,
Justine Wilson.
a Canadian author.
Okay.
They were married in 2000 and had 6 children together.
6 children. Wow.
Tragically, their firstborn son
Oh.
passed away from SIDS at just 10 weeks old.
Oh, that's awful.
It's just heartbreaking.
It is.
You know, it's a reminder that even someone as seemingly invincible as Elon Musk
Right.
is not immune to personal tragedy.
Absolutely.
Their relationship eventually ended in divorce in 2008.
Okay.
Then came his whirlwind romance with English actress Tallulah Riley.
Tallulah Riley.
They actually married twice.
What?
First in 2010 and then again in 2013.
Wow, they got remarried.
With divorces in between and after.
Wow, so twice.
It's like a Hollywood movie plot.
It really is. I mean, that's
Talk about a complicated relationship history.
that's a lot.
He also dated actress Amber Heard for a short period in 2017.
Amber Heard,
Right after her very public split with Johnny Depp.
Right.
Which definitely kept the tabloid headlines buzzing.
Oh, for sure, front page news.
Yeah.
So what about Grimes?
Oh, and then of course there's Grimes.
Right, the musician.
The musician. Their unconventional romance kind of captivated the public's attention.
It did. They were all over the news.
Especially with the unique names that they chose for their 3 children.
Okay, what were their names?
So they have X-A-A-She.
X-A-A-She.
X-A-A-A-She.
Okay. Exodark Musk.
Exodark Sidereal. Okay.
And Technomechanicus.
Technomechanicus. All right, so those are definitely some
They stand out.
unique names.
They stand out.
They've since split,
Okay.
but reportedly remain on good terms and are co-parenting their children.
That's good.
Which, considering their personality, is probably for the best.
Probably for the best.
It's interesting to consider how Musk's personal life often mirrors his professional one.
How so?
Just as he pushes boundaries and challenges norms in his business ventures,
Right.
his relationships also often defy conventional expectations.
He doesn't like to follow the rules.
No, he does not like to follow the rules. And it hasn't all been smooth sailing.
Right.
You know, there's been this very public and frankly sad feud with his transgender daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson.
Vivian Jenna Wilson.
Yeah, Vivian, formerly known as Xavier, came out as transgender in 2022.
Go.
Legally changing her name and gender and choosing to distance herself from her father.
Oh, wow.
Using her mother's surname instead.
So she doesn't even want to use the name Musk?
No,
Yeah.
and Musk has publicly blamed this estrangement on what he calls the woke mind virus.
The woke mind virus, that sounds familiar? He's mentioned that before.
He's mentioned that before.
Okay.
And he's also made some controversial statements about gender-affirming care, even saying that he's essentially lost his son.
Right.
I mean, it's a deeply personal and sensitive issue.
It is.
And it's been really painful to watch play out in such a public way.
Yeah. It's a shame that all of this has been so public, you know?
Yeah. And it kind of highlights the complexities of family relationships.
Right.
And the challenges of navigating personal differences.
Especially when those differences are amplified by that public spotlight.
Especially when the whole world is watching.
Yeah.
This situation also brings to light another aspect of Musk's personality that often comes up.
What's that?
His relationship with criticism.
Oh, right.
He's notoriously thin-skinned.
Thin-skinned.
Often lashing out at critics on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or blocking journalists who write negative pieces about him.
He's not a fan of criticism.
No, he's not a fan of criticism. And it's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
For someone who's achieved such incredible things, he seems to have a hard time handling criticism.
I mean, some might argue that it's a sign of insecurity, while others might see it as a byproduct of his intense drive and ambition.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We've seen this larger-than-life figure who seems to fearlessly take on the world.
Yeah.
But then there's this other side of him that's more sensitive and reactive. More human. And, you know, despite those flaws, you can't deny that his eccentricities kind of add a certain entertainment value to his persona.
They do.
Like, think about launching his Tesla Roadster into space.
Yeah. That was pretty out there.
Selling flamethrowers through the Boring Company.
Flamethrower.
His constant stream of memes and jokes on Twitter.
Right, he's always got something to say.
And who could forget that time he smoked marijuana on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Oh, yeah. That was a classic.
I mean, for someone running companies with government contracts, it wasn't exactly the most strategic move.
Not the best move.
But it definitely made for good headlines.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's certainly not afraid to be himself.
That's for sure.
Even if it gets him into trouble sometimes.
Even if it gets him into trouble.
But it's also that willingness to challenge conventions and take risks.
Right.
That's led to some of his biggest successes.
That's true. I mean, you can't argue with his success.
So what's the takeaway from all of this?
Well, one thing is for sure he's a force of nature.
Yeah.
A brilliant mind with a relentless drive to push the boundaries of innovation, often challenging conventional wisdom and disrupting entire industries along the way.
And he's also deeply flawed, prone to controversy, and sometimes his own worst enemy.
His own worst enemy.
His personal life is a tapestry of unconventional relationships, public feuds, and moments of both heartwarming vulnerability and cringeworthy behavior.
Highs and lows.
The highs and the lows.
Yeah.
But his impact on the world is undeniable.
It is, I mean.
From revolutionizing space travel to accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, Musk's ventures have left an indelible mark on the 21st century.
You know, no matter what you think of him, he's made a huge impact.
He's a visionary, a disruptor, an innovator, a provocateur.
He's all of those things.
And above all, a human being.
That's right.
With all the complexity.
And contradictions.
And contradictions that come with it.
Yeah. I think that's important to remember.
Whether you admire him, question him, or simply find him fascinating, one thing is clear.
What's that?
Elon Musk is a figure who will continue to shape the world for years to come.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, we're left with a final thought for you.
Okay.
Musk's story is far from over.
Far from over.
His companies are pushing forward with ambitious goals. His personal life continues to unfold in the public eye, and his influence on technology, politics, and culture shows no signs of waning.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I mean, who knows what he'll do next.
So we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep forming your own informed opinions about this complex and enigmatic figure.
Yeah, do your research.
Because the story of Elon Musk is ultimately a story about human ambition, ingenuity, and that never-ending quest to push the limits of what's possible.
A story for our times.
A story for our times, and on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the many facets of Elon Musk.
All right.
Until next time, fellow deep divers.